Huzzah!
Man, so many people have been hinting around about it this entire conference. Isn't this a great conference?
Yeah.
You keep getting just a little taste of it. Keep hearing hints about it. Certain words keep popping up. Have you noticed this? Anybody have seen this trend? The word movement. We need to organize. What else? So let's just put it this way. Rather than beat around the bush about it, which I'm famous for, today I'm going to get to the point. And we're going to call it what it is, if that's okay with you. So first, let me ask you a question. How many of you in this room, and think about this question carefully because I choose each word of the question carefully. Do you believe that you and your family have a right to eat a proper human diet? Raise your hand if you agree with that sentence. Okay. So there are many ways to take people's rights away, right? And when you think about that, someone had their rights taken away, our knee-jerk response is, well, there's a gun involved, right? But the vast majority of the time, you lose your rights and there's no gun involved.
Yep.
Okay? You can be tricked out of your rights. You can be misled out of your rights, either through fraud or by withholding information. You can have your rights taken from you, including the right to eat a proper human diet. You may have noticed in the media over the past year or two, there's an increasingly loud voice talking about certain key foods in a proper human diet needing to be taxed or restricted or outlawed. Well, what's that going to do to you and your family's right to enjoy all the benefits that come from eating a proper human diet? So I'm going to say the word that all the other speakers have hinted around about. When you raised your hand, that was a revolutionary act, especially in this day and age. Saying that you and your family deserve the nutrition and the health that comes from eating a proper human diet is a revolutionary act. That makes you a revolutionary. That makes this a revolution.
Huzzah!
So let's put a pin in the revolution talk and let's talk about medical and nutrition research. I'm sure you guys have seen the articles. There are multiple ways that we can be misled by nutrition and medical research, right?
Yep.
There's multiple ways. So have you heard about the lack of reproducibility in medical and nutrition? Have you heard about this?
Yep.
So if I do a research study here in the States and I publish that, peer reviewed, there's how I did it, here's the results. In Sweden, you should be able to repeat that and get the same results. That's called reproducibility. Now, experts in medical and nutrition research who should know say that up to half of all medical research is non-reproducible. Meaning you do the same research I did, you don't get the same results. That's a big problem. That's really not very sciencey, is it? Dr. Diamond, that's not sciencey, right? It's not sciencey. No, that is not okay, right? What about the file drawer problem? Have you heard about this? If I'm a big food company or a big pharma company and I spend $1 billion designing this research study, I hire all the researchers, I design it, I come up with all the questions, here's the protocol, and then the result doesn't. Now, also I got some NIH money, National Institutes of Health, I got some federal government money too. Oh, wait a minute. That makes the cheese more binding, I think. I'll tell you why in a minute. But then I get the results of my study, and they don't help me. They don't help me sell pills, and the results are not useful to me. Even though I got public money in addition to the private money I spent. Do I have to publish that study, Dr. Ali?
No.
No?
Not until 2006. Now you need.
I can put that in the file drawer, and you never know. And so it's harder for that to happen these days, but there are hundreds or thousands of papers in the file drawer right now. My opinion is that's scientific fraud. My opinion is that every single one of those studies should be discovered through subpoena or otherwise, and should be published so that the public has access to all the scientific knowledge. And then finally, what about the fraud? Have you seen the articles about the fraud in medical research? And I'm not talking about at Columbia State Community College where I got my associate's degree. I'm talking about at preeminent universities. I'm talking about chairmen of departments, okay, have fraudulently made up results, okay? They've literally photocopied images and said, no, this is before, this is after, same image. Now, there's no big money behind this. The federal government doesn't seem to be interested in ferreting that out. That seems to be important to me. I'm not sure why they're not interested. Lobbyists. I mean, I really have no idea why they're not focused on that. But so there are these small little bands of renegade researchers who look at a scientific field and go, this smells a little fishy right here. Let's look into this. And you know what they find every single time when they start really digging into a study, to a department, to a chairman? Fraud. And I was reading an interview by one of these little renegade bands, one of these little ragtag bands of researchers. And the interviewer said, well, how commonly do you find fraud? And what they effectively said was, well, I mean, every single time we've looked so far. Like literally, if we look there, we find fraud. Now, with Big Food and Big Pharma being so involved in the design and the conduction of the studies, I predict, now I'm just a redneck from Tennessee, but I predict that there's fraud all the way down. Instead of turtles all the way down, it's fraud all the way down. You have fraudulent studies that are based on the results of fraudulent studies, which are based on the results of fraudulent studies going back for years. That's what we're going to find when some big organization finally does develop the anatomy to say, you know what, we're going to look at all this. That's what we're going to find, is pervasive fraud. Now, let's get back to the revolutionary part. I'm a student of history, among other things. And I've been an avid student of revolutions in multiple different countries and societies. And the one that I find the most compelling, maybe because I live in America, is the American Revolution. Now, on this side of the Atlantic, it's called the American Revolution. On the other side of the Atlantic, it's called the American Rebellion. Right? On this side, the founding fathers and mothers were heroes. On that side, they were scoundrels and they were pirates. Right? So it's all perception. But there are several things that you need for a revolution. And there are several different styles or flavors of a revolution. One style is, let's just burn it all down. Now, obviously, that's not a very productive style. We've seen over the last few years groups of individuals who endorse that. Let's just burn it all down. Obviously not conducive to a good society, right? Some other people said, you know what, I'm going to take care of me and mine. It's called circle the wagons. I'm going to take care of me and my family and my close friends, and whatever the hell happens, happens. I don't know. I'm not part of it. Okay. That probably is good for self-preservation, but not so great for the society at large. Our founding fathers, now definitely during the American Revolution, there was an element of burning down. We were throwing shit into harbors, and we were burning down buildings, and we were shooting people, and all that was happening. There was an element of that. And there was definitely an element of circle of wagons. Our family, we're not going to be involved in this. But they did two brilliant things. And when you see these things happening, that's how you know a revolution has legs. That's how you know a revolution might just make it, might just amount to something. The first thing is joining groups, forming groups, joining clubs, forming foundations and associations and organizations. Okay? Because, first of all, you don't want to burn it all down if you don't have anything to replace it with.
Right.
So you've got to have organization. You've got to have comrades. You've got to have friends and citizens who are like, yes, okay, we can do this. But the most brilliant thing our founding fathers did in the United States is they built parallel organizations. They said, we don't, this monarchy, we don't want that. But if we burn it down, then we'll have nothing. We'll just have anarchy. We need to, if we want to get rid of that government, we need to form our own government. Right? So they formed a legislature. Later they formed a judiciary. Then they formed an executive branch. So when the time came to burn it down, they weren't just running around with their pants down. They had a parallel system set up in place, ready to take the place of the previous ineffective and overarching government. Now, I told you earlier that raising your hand to that question was a revolutionary act. And this is indeed a revolution. But this is an intelligent revolution. There is an aspect to burn it down. And if you want to see that, you can go watch me attack the American Diabetes Association on Twitter. And call them out. And say, hey, Dr. Bob, why haven't I heard from you? Why won't you come on my YouTube channel? He's their medical director, who says an A1C of 7 is fine. And to, eat some grapes. Okay, that's burn it down. Circle of wagons, definitely we've done that. We left the city, moved to Holiday, Tennessee. We live in the woods. We grow our own meat. Some people store meat in the freezer. We store meat in the pasture.
Yep. Woo!
Okay? But now, so if you read much about the founding of America, there were so many clubs and organizations and societies that historians have trouble keeping up with them all. Like Ben Franklin was a member of 47 different societies, some of which were secret. Is there a secret handshake keto society yet? I'm not sure. But literally, they were a member of all these different clubs and organizations. Speaking of organizations, how many members of our PhD tribe do we have in the room? Stand up. No, stand up. Let me see it. Hey, thank you guys so much. Join a club, join an organization, join a Facebook page if that's the way you swing, whatever, it's fine. But get involved, okay? Now, the final leg of this, and the most important thing, the thing that tells you a revolution's got legs. This revolution has a chance to succeed. This revolution has a chance to change the world and take over the world. Is parallel organizations. Kind of like the Citizen Science Foundation. Sort of like Metabolic Mind. Don't worry, Doug. Also, the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners. When you see a revolution building up these alternative organizations, we don't like the current system. And we might burn it down on Twitter, but we're going to have replacements. We're going to have things up, ready, running, ready to go. The American Medical Association, as far as I'm concerned, can go straight to hell. Okay? Because we've got the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners, and if you're a practicing doctor, do you need a standard of care? You do, really. If you don't want to get in legal trouble, guess what the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners has?
Standard of care.
I printed out standard of care. So when the attorney says, well, are you following standard of care? You can say, yes, I was. Okay? Well, what about all the research, all the fraud, all the file drawer, all that stuff? Well, guess what we've got? We've got an alternative, the Citizen Science Foundation.
Yeah.
Now, every alternative organization like that that's helping to lead a revolution, they need your retweets. They need your Facebook shares. They need your Instagram hearts. They do need all that. That's good. But what they really need is your money. Slide. Slide. There you go. Now, I guarantee you there are at least 2 people in this room that do not know what the hell this is. You don't have to raise your hand, it's fine. This is called a QR code. You take out your phone, and you turn your phone on, and you turn on your camera app, and you point it at that. And underneath, a little yellow or blue thing will pop up. You click on that thing, and it'll take you to the Citizen Science Foundation website where you can definitely donate your retweets and your shares and your hearts, but also donate some damn money. Because every revolution, you've got to have money, or you're going to lose, okay? So I want everybody to take a picture of this, and you can do it later, or you can do it right now. But if we're going to have alternative organizations, they have to be funded, okay? We can't. They love your retweets, but they cannot pay the bills with your retweets. They love your Facebook shares, but the bill collectors do. They don't. Do they? No, they don't. They don't take those. Okay, they need money. And so you buying a ticket to this, that was a donation to the Citizen Science Foundation. But they need more than that. And so if you're able, if you're willing, if you're capable, please give a little bit more. I don't make a penny. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I don't make a penny out of this. I paid to be here. I'm trying to raise money for the revolution that this is.
Yeah.
The revolution that you are. The revolution that you're going to take back home. If this revolution is going to be successful, if it's going to change the world in a better way, isn't that the goal? Everybody wants to be healthier, sure. But it's awfully damn selfish if you want to keep that for yourself. Isn't it?
Yep.
Let's share it with the world. And let's help the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners. Let's help the Chris Palmer's group. Let's help Citizen Science Foundation to become the alternative organizations. So when I do burn the American Diabetes Association down, and the AMA truly does go to hell, we already got it. We got organizations waiting in the wings to do the job, and to do the job right, and to do the job without fraud, and to do the job without money sliding under the table, to do the job right, to improve the health of the entire world. That's my goal, and I hope that's your goal too.
Woo! Really did that.
I want to emphasize something, by the way. There is no under the table with us. I want to emphasize I am so fortunate that the board for the Citizen Science Foundation is teeny tiny. It's Sharon Del Pilar and it's Siobhan Huggins, and they can tell you right now, quite literally, virtually everything we collect, and I say virtually because we do have to pay third-party credit card processing fees and so forth. Everything we're collecting is heading towards the science. It's heading towards the Lundquist. You saw Dr. Budoff last night. It's helping to pay his team, and that's after he's given us a discount for what would normally cost so much. You don't even want to know the numbers. What they normally charge is a lot more, but what I found, to your point on the revolution, is when it looks like it's really earnest, that's really just trying to be a truth-seeking endeavor, you'd be amazed how many people come together when they feel like they're on the right track.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for pitching this, Ken. And thank you all, because this is a room full of givers. All of us, including the speakers, have paid their way to come here and to make this happen. So thank you once again.
Way to go, Dave!
I just got done saying this, and literally just before Ken started his talk, I just got done saying this revolution has 10,000, 100,000 authors. You are now all authors as well. So I cannot state enough how happy I am about this. We're going to have one tiny little break while we set up for the last surprise. There's a surprise event that's about to happen. So give it maybe 5 minutes if you have to run to the restroom. It's your